Set to start. 80 seconds.
Hi, I'm Neil and welcome to the Crosscast. It is now episode 11 of season 9 and this is the show, the one you can't miss. It's Podium Picker time. Regular listeners will know Podium Picker. It is the highlight of the year where at least 3 people on the planet will humiliate themselves, and those are the ones who are currently here. We must do better than last year. Okay, in today's Crosstalk, though, we're going to look back on what was a really interesting weekend of World Cup action. And I thought I put a real cat amongst the pigeons in terms of predicting who are the ones to watch at the World Champs. Maybe you disagree. Maybe it didn't put the cat amongst the pigeons for it. You know, last week that podium competition was so simple, wasn't it? I don't think it's quite so simple now. So in the last one, we're going to look forward to the 2026 Hulst World Championships, and we are going to be giving our thoughts on who are the ones to watch, and we're going to give our personal picks for each of the 7 races. So don't miss it. You want to sound clever in front of your friends when you're watching it, listen to us and you'll know what not to say. I'm joined in the studio by Matt Payne and Zan Crease. Zan, I've got 2 questions for you. Is it now end of season? And secondly, are you daring to look at your ankles? How are they after the weekend?
Yeah, so I am now in off season, which is great. I'm going to try and pretend I don't eat cake normally, but it's like eating an excessive amount of cake, chocolate, all those things that in season you'd be like, oh, I probably shouldn't. I am just indulging myself now because that is the whole point. And my ankles is because I put a message in our group chat on Sunday after Hügelheide being like, yeah, the stairs are great and really iconic, but oh my goodness, my ankles kill. And I'd like to point out I've worn the same shoes all season and yet I've not had this problem, but going up those stairs at Hügelheide have done something to my ankles, and they are both of them the size of golf balls on either side. They are just completely swollen. So if it wasn't off season, it probably would be now anyway, to be quite honest.
It sounds terrible, like you just had a real tough day at the office. It's not what you want to have happen. So come on, Zan. You say you've worn the same shoes. You've run up how many steps? I can't remember how many it must be over the course of the season. I've not sat there on the coverage and counted how many stairs on bridges and ascents and steps. But it was tough. Clearly, it made a difference. But overall, are you pleased because you weren't going to race them?
Yeah, I know.
You kind of said, I'm not going to do this. And then you were like, but I am. You know, you were doing a Matthew Van Der Poel of, I'm not going to be there. I am going to be there. And then you turn up and race both of them.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where at the start, I was kind of like, early like in this year's in 2026, I was like, oh, I don't really know how much longer I should race for. Like my body needs some time to recover. And then went to Benidorm and I was like, you know what? I've done a training camp now. Like I can't stop now. I can't have off season after a training camp. So I was like, you know what? We'll give Mass Mechelen a go. Just see how we get on. Test the waters. I finished Mass Mechelen and turned around to Joan, my partner. And I was like, yeah, we're racing tomorrow. And I think he knew because I went quite well. Like I had a really good race. It's quite hard because I start on like the 5th row now when we've got all the riders hit. And it's crazy the difference like the 3rd or 4th row make to the 5th row in that gridding. And that starts it. But like the way I was racing and riding, I was like, wow, I feel really good. This is some like the best actual racing I'm doing, even if the results might not show it. And again, at Hügelheide, I just felt really good. Like I was actually racing the group I was with. Normally, I'm with a really strong group and I'm there like, oh, okay, if I just hold on to this wheel, I won't lose any more places. This was the first time I was riding with a group and going, I'm having all of you. Like, I am going to win this group. And like, I don't think I've had that feeling all year. Nice. But that's why I did it, I think. I fully attacked those stairs on the final lap and was fully slapping my feet to get up them as quick as possible. Paid off, but my feet now hurt.
It's mad, isn't it? Because it's kind of like, when I go to a bike race, that now my dread is the sitting around in the commentary. But I literally got sort of plans of so for the weekend just gone, because I did 6 shows. I was on the mic for, I think I worked it out as 10 hours over 2 days. So I stand up, I sit down, I've got everything set on a studio set up with a standing height, and then the chairs sort of go up to that height, and then I can stand, and then I dread the sit down, and I guess it's probably, going to be. It's one of those things. It's like when we used to go to events all the time, kind of got used to the travel. Now I'm kind of dreading the fact that I've got to drive to get there. It's like, oh, really? I'm not sure. I'm really looking forward to that. It's a bit dull.
Well, how long was your drive this weekend? Because you're heading over to Worlds to commentate on that, so it must be a big shift you're pulling this time.
Yeah. We sat down and worked it out, and it's 9 hours. It's going to be 8 hours driving with no delays at the limit. And I don't think the whole of I'm going. We've got Emma Martin's going, who's going to be doing some work there for Full Speed Events. Got Tim is going to be there as well. He's doing some work for us. So overall, we've got a car with 3 and satellite dishes, equipment, studio equipment, blah, 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 blah. Basically, the poor little Dacia Duster is going to be struggling a little bit to do 130k an hour on the auto route. So I reckon it's going to be about 8-9 hours. Plus stops. So it's a long day Thursday travelling up. Not a long day, but it's a long time sat in the car and then to sit in the studio for 3 days. And the accommodation, I can't even walk because normally I walk to and from the venue, which I really love doing. And this time it's 25k walk, so that's not happening either. So, yeah, it's going to be good. But, it's different. It's something, it's the World Champs. I love something different and something sort of, it's not a surprise, but something where you don't quite know what's going to happen when you get there, and and a little bit of a surprise. And didn't you say, Neil? In fact, talking of surprises, you promised us. You pointing at Neil. You promised us a surprise and exclusive last time we were on the show, didn't you?
Did I?
Something different.
I did promise you an exclusive. I can reveal the exclusive, something that you've all been waiting for. During the show, when we were recording it last week, we had the confirmation that our shipping had come through for our new zip-offs that people have been waiting for. So we've been out of stock for ages. I know loads of people have been waiting to get them. They'll be in stock. They should be on the website by the time you read this for the adult sizes. We needed to make a very slight design tweak to them, and we did the tweak, and I wasn't happy with it. I wanted it to be tweaked again, and that put us behind. But you always want things to be bang on, and that's what we do on all of our stuff. But look at these babies here. It's a bit blurry on the camera. These are age 3 to 4. Age 3 to 4. They're so cute. They are so cute. These are lovely little tiddly ones, baby ones. So we're going
proper
now from
zip-offs.
proper zip-offs, age 3 to 4, all the way up to age 103 or 140, depending on how old you are. So they're so cute. Honestly, they're absolutely amazing. Sadly, it's just as much process. There are just as many parts as the adult ones because we didn't want to change the spec. But they're absolutely gorgeous, these little zips. So again, it's people who have come to us and they said, "Oh, could you do them for the smallest ones?" And we think, well, if literally people are asking us for them, then we're going to do it. Yeah.
Love it.
So we're absolutely delighted. So they came through 2 days ago. So we've been busy putting the labels in, doing the quality control, doing the finishing, and it's such a relief, I tell you, such a relief. So,
but they're there. They're in person. They have arrived.
Absolutely, yeah. And when you've got a product which you know is really good, and you think, I just want to change it very, very slightly.
So I guess the thing is, Neil, now that people have just done the season, in their head they know what they've got that works and doesn't work and what they need. Yeah. You know at the moment now what you need for next year. Get it in now. Don't wait until next year. Get your orders in because you can remember it. Don't do what I've done on a number of seasons before. Is you get to the season, you go, oh, I know I needed something for this new season, and I can't remember what it is. And I've done it with bearings before, and I've done it with shoe cleats, actually.
That was my exclusive from last week. I thought, bear in mind the timings, it would just be going on the website now. So, really chuffed with that. And these 3 to 4 ones, and those sizes are just mint. They're so nice. So, anyway, that's a little peek into Gritty HQ. So we've just had these 2 races, which are the pair of spelling tests, the Maas Mechelen round and Hooger Heider. When we came into those races, there were dead certs, weren't there, for next week? Not anymore, there aren't. They were so different. We've got Puck Petersa, who got that win, another win ahead of ready for another win the following day, with Alvarado and Fukune in third. And this was one where Brand was there, but she wasn't there in terms of the result. Of course, in the men's race, okay, Van der Poel did win it, but it was close, so close. Thibaut Del Grosso and Niels van der Putte making that top three. It was exciting. Both of those races were exciting in very, very different ways. Zan, you were racing, weren't you? And bearing in mind you raced again on the Sunday, I guess you must have had fun. Did you manage to get around without punctures, without anything too dramatic?
Yes, thankfully I managed to make it round all okay. No crashes to report, no punctures. But what we did have to do is, because the ground when dry, as we found a few years ago, is kind of known for being quite puncture heavy. So even though a lot of the corners were quite slick, and you've probably been able to see that actually there wasn't mud in terms of slip, slide, bog, other than that one puddle. But a lot of the corners, when you were taking them at speed, you wanted quite low tyre pressures, and it was having to pick that balance of, I don't want to puncture because that's going to lose a lot of time, but I also want to go lower because I want to have more grip around this corner. So I think I raced at about 19 psi, which for someone my size was probably quite high on that course, but I kind of knew that would give me less time penalty than if I punctured and had to get my way back round to the pits. But it's such a good course. It's so much fun because even though it was so dry and the racing was quite close, it was quite technical still. So those technical elements really came into it. Even though it looked dry and fast, if you had the skills, you could kind of keep with a group ahead or move up. And it was just so much fun. I absolutely loved racing it, to be honest.
I think it's a really good course. I do. I agree with you, Zan. I think it's got little bits of everything that go in there. And that it's not just one thing. It's not just that bank where you hit it at an angle where we saw Thibaut Nace take every single lap. It was lap after lap after lap. He absolutely fluffed it, and then he got to the last lap and then he nails it. And Van der Poel chasing from a puncture comes up behind him and he makes an error. Then Van der Poel drops back down the bank and does a 360 with the bike. It was like dancing with the bike down the hillside, come in and go back up again. I mean, it's not just that bank. A lot of those corners are really, really, really slippery. And you could see the tyres and the wheels stepping out. You could see them literally, it was like having two-wheel slides almost as people were. And yet it seems sort of correctable. And I think for me, when everybody says, oh, you get a lot of punctures, I agree. But it's a balance. And it's that balancing act you just said. It's getting the balance right. You risk running low. Get in the grip, but you're going to get more punctures, or you run them higher and you risk losing the grip. And that's part of the skill of being a cyclocross rider that differentiates it from riding around a velodrome or on the road or wherever, And even there, you're still balancing up a little bit, reliability versus performance. So, for me, I like it. What about you, Neil? Do you like Maspecklin? Do you thought it was good? You said the races were great. You like the racing.
Yeah, I did like the racing. I mean, it's one that it kind of hasn't really settled for me. It comes at a funny time of year, actually. I think I've not been there in person, so I think that probably does make a difference. I'd like to see it on the ground. It does vary year in, year out. I think, Zan, you said last time you've raced it in all conditions. You've probably got another one to tick off now. I mean, Zan, if I remember from what you said earlier in the season, you've been running tubeless this year. Are you still on tubeless?
I am. Yeah. So I've ran tubeless for the last 3 seasons, I think now.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
Yeah. So 19 psi is still, you may put an extra little bit in for a tubeless just because the way they run a bit different, or I do anyway. But maybe that's me just being conservative.
I think that's the thing. It's every rider's to their own, isn't it? So I'll go as low as 17, close to 16 on some races on a tubeless tyre, but I am probably on the lighter end of a tubeless tyre user, so I appreciate riders who are heavy. But it's the same with a tub. The heavier you are, you're going to keep those pressures higher, or you are going to end up coming out with slash tyres, punctures, etc.
Physics.
Yes.
Don't start Neil on physics. One thing before we move off Maspecklin, one thing we do need to say is, was it the saviour of the cable cam for you? Because it had the most immense cable cam shot. And it was absolutely brilliant. And I actually sent, for those people who
Yeah.
know about Neil's addiction. I actually even sent him a little picture because when we were going off air, we actually saw the cable cam being collected in by the guy who holds it in his hands. So I did send Neil an actual picture of the guy collecting the cable cam coming back in again. But it for me, I thought that surely meant it was going to be on your highlight list. When we get through the season.
I think so. But there are some classic cable cam shots that always make the coverage, and I don't think it's quite the same. That you get good coverage because of it, but it doesn't give you that unique shot. And to be honest, I hate to say this, I'm really sorry, cable cam operators, but the uniqueness of it is kind of almost been taken away a little bit because we're kind of used to those aerial shots now because there's so much rubbish drone footage out there that it's kind of it's not something that you would like, oh, that's a nice shot as you kind of get that tracking. Like if you ever watched horse racing. Used to watch quite a lot of horse racing as a child, and I presume they still do it. I don't know, but there used to be like a open top Jeep, a flatbed with some poor chap on a.
Do you know what they used to
camera.
use?
Yeah.
Do you know what they used to use? They used to use very often a Citroen CX with a flatbed on it because it had gas suspension. It was so smooth that the camera wouldn't wobble about on there.
And you get
but
that.
I know what you mean. That tracking across the side shot, the one we get with the 4x4, like the quad bike that you see sometimes roaring up the side of the track on the mountain bikes.
It's something that you can't get another way. But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of racing, it gave us a really interesting race. I think the fact that we had the three teammates getting the clean sweep. And it wasn't just three; it was five, really, if you include Puck and Peterson and Alvarado. That was a good day out for the team.
Oh, yeah, you can imagine Alpecin that night. We're just going, "Yep, come on, bring on tomorrow, bring on the world champs."
They're just like a haircut.
Come on, let's go. Definitely.
And then you have Nace just missing out into fourth. Balois, Lions, whatever they are now, Balois, Lions, they missed out on some coverage there, which happened again at Hoogerheide. It was another good race, great race at Hoogerheide. We had almost the same podium in both races, actually. In the men's race, we've got another Van der Poel, Del Grosso, Van der Putte for the top three, and another Thibaut Nice. What was he thinking? Fourth place, and in the women's competition, another Puck Peters with Zemanova and Foucault. Well, no, coming back to Puck Peters doing the double. I enjoyed our interview actually at the beginning, where at the start of the race, where they said, "Well, you're going to do it again?" She goes, "Yeah, why not?"
Puck's interviews are just brilliant. I love the honesty. I have to say, I do like Thibaut Nice's interviews as well. He's always very honest about it, and he's. I actually sort of see a selection of what we're likely to see. On a good day, we see some of the interviews beforehand. Sometimes we see all the ones that they don't show on the show. We see all the other ones, all the outtakes instead beforehand. Yeah. But it was really, I think he really is, and I love what he says. I just wish he would just maybe focus a bit more on where the blooming finish line is, on some of those. I mean, it's just one of those. For me, it was like Mads Mechelen kind of, it was everybody who got the places kind of got them in the right way. Because Thibaut really fluffed up Mads Mechelen in his technical ability wasn't there on that bank, and that kind of cost him. And I can kind of live with that. But then to go to Hoogerheide, where you've got Puck shows that you can do it you do it on the Saturday, you can do it on the Sunday. No problem. I'm not sure that Alvarado won't be ruined the fact she didn't go. It cost her a top 3 position in the series overall. She stuck to the game plan. She wasn't focusing on the World Cups. She's clearly focused on the World Championships. But that was a bit of a giveaway, I think. That was really close. She could have been on the podium, which clearly was a bit of a struggle for some. So for me, I think getting on that for me was a bit of a loss for her when she clearly was riding well. But then in the men's race, to get Van der Putte twice, he said to him at the start, well, are you going to do another top 3? And he was like, well, we can have a go. And, it's like, great, fantastic. And I think that was the men's race for me. I thought the women's race actually was better than the men's. I love the fact that we had Zamanova up there challenging. We had Sladanova coming over across at times. We got some of these younger riders moving their way up through the field. We had a real battle in that at the front of the women's race. I thought the women's race was better than the men's. The men's, for me, it was all about pretty much when Van der Poel goes, no one's going with him. Then it was about who's going to attack him and who's going to attack and go clear, and nobody could. So then it was kind of going to come down to the sprint, and you kind of thought, well, it's who goes in first is going to probably lead this and potentially win it unless they mess it up. And guess what? They did, because fair play to Table Races that he messed it up. He got it wrong. So no, give me the men's race. I thought it was, give me the men's race with the women's action in the middle of it.
Yeah,
that would have been better.
At Hoogerheide, whoever is if you're not in the, say, top 3 when you get to the top of the steps, that you're not likely to get to the front of your group. You might be able to make 1 or 2, but if you're in a massive group like that, I mean, Dan, when you said that you absolutely went for it up the steps on the last lap. What was the groups like where you were?
So technically, I was in a group of 5 at the hurdles and went over the hurdles because I worked out I could get on quicker than anybody else. So then had to sprint from the hurdles to the descent, do the steps. And then at the steps, I knew I had a tiny bit of a gap, but it was like not a lot. And I'm like, oh, I'm not really a sprinter. So I was trying to make that gap as big as possible to have as much time for the road. So I actually came into it by myself and used that to concrete my gap. But normally, when I was in that group of 5, I could run to the front of my group up the stairs. Because again, I always wanted to be at the top, because then you go through that like kind of off camber and drop down. And the higher you are up onto the group, when you drop down, the better chance you have staying in the group or at least having an easier ride to the top of the hill.
I noticed that you said you're going to concrete your finish. Those steps really are going to be permanently embedded on your memory, aren't they? Those concrete steps. No, but I mean, we also noticed there was an error actually in the timing immediately at the end of the women's race where they put Backstead in 3rd, which was bizarre. She wasn't. She was placed down from there. But at the hurdle, she was a few seconds behind 4th. So I went back and I did I did watch it with 2 different sets of coverage actually. And the second time when I went to look at some of the things that happened that I felt I'd missed, and she was a long way back, but then she gave it a lot of beans going into that final climb up the steps, and then managed to make a place and was close to 3rd, but didn't quite make it there. But it's that very end of the race. We saw so many places change. Nace obviously being one of them, and that uphill sprint. I'm guessing it's just as uphill as it always was then.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
so
Benidorm made it feel easier, but yeah, that is a proper climb up to that finish line.
You don't see it on the cameras, do you? When you walk, you stand at the bottom of the hill, and you sort of think, "Oh, that'll be all right," and then you walk up it a couple of times. You think, "Actually, no." You know that at the end of a race, and I think it's also because everything else is. It's certainly this year there didn't look to be anywhere where you could actually come off the gas at all. It was full gas everywhere. There was because it was so quick out there. Sometimes you get people freewheeling down out of the woods or just easing off on there or on some of those long. Oh no, there was just like how the only limiting factor on the speed was how fast you could get around the corners. It seemed to be, and there were a couple of slips and slides. And we saw that going onto the tarmac that was quite decisive at the front of the racing, but it just looked full gas. I thought they were a great way to end the series overall. A great double weekend. I thought it was good.
Yeah. So Zan, you were at all of them bar Sardinia, weren't you, this year? Were there any surprises in there, or no? Apart from that, we know that what you're going to say about the weather, and you're very welcome to. But how was it? How did you feel from a rider's perspective this year? Which were the highlights?
Oh, see, I think for me, and I think it's possibly because it's the one I hadn't done before, but Benidorm was actually my highlight of the year. I think I went into it with
Interesting.
almost low expectations because I was like, oh, this is going to be, a proper grass crit. This is just going to be straight line, corner, straight line, corner. And it wasn't. It was so good. And like the way it raced, I enjoyed it so much. Like the racing you actually got, because there was always someone not too far ahead. There were bits where actually, if you were quite good on the technical bits, if you could make up time on the corners, you could move up. And I really enjoyed it. Like I love Namur, but I don't think I love Namur as much this year because I think Namur is the one I finished the most exhausted at the end because of just how hard it was. Like when Namur ran dry, it was brutal. Like again, like most of the races this year, it's been pretty much full gas. There's very little times to actually come off and rest. You are actually, when you describe cyclocross as an hour full gas, this season has been that. It has been an hour full gas at pretty much every single race, especially in the World Cups. And yeah, next year, please, if we could just have a tiny bit of mud on one of the World Cups, I would be very happy.
Well, I mean, who would have thought, Dendermonde, you'd be sending us like, just asking for a friend, has it ever been ridden on file treads? It's like, who would have thought it? We've seen so many muddy. I mean, there have been slippery sections and there's been a lot of races where you've actually had to have the skill, and we have seen the mud tyres out and the inters. It's not been a case of file treads everywhere. But I think, I think there's a lot of people going, it's missing mud a bit. And it's not been as slippery as before. I thought it's been a good season. I think, I actually have been surprised in some ways by all of the way that all the courses have ridden this year. I don't think there's a race where I kind of thought, well, that kind of went like we expected. Maybe to some degree, Maasmechelen might be the one. Maybe. I don't know, because a lot of them didn't seem to be too... They just seemed, full gas. They seemed fast. They seemed crazy quick. They were still skilled. There were still people coming and going on the way up and through. We've seen some real breakthrough rides. We've seen some riders maybe who we think now are going to come into the fore when we go into Worlds. I liked them. I thought Benidorm was good. I liked it. I have to admit, I think it's probably going to be one of the favourites for me. Just because of the way that it challenged everybody's... I like the fact it messes with everybody's head. Everybody goes, like you did, Zan, and goes, oh, yeah, it's going to be this. And I don't think it's ever actually been what everybody's predicted. It's always been a bit different.
Yeah, and I think Benidorm's kind of a feel-good race in some ways. It feels like it's a happy place to be, really. Hey, it doesn't ever feel quite so intense. I mean, for me, I think Antwerp was one of the best pair of races of the year. I thought there were really cracking races at Antwerp, which of course is where
I thought Havre were good. Havre and Antwerp I go with for traditional courses. I actually liked Havre a little bit more sketchy in odd places. We were still seeing people come off, but it maybe wasn't quite such a slogfest as we normally have. Yeah. They're not my favourites though. My ultimate favourite, I'm keeping that back at the minute.
Oh, right, okay. Well, we'll
keep that back. Well, actually, no. Because it's uber predictable in some ways. Zonhoven. Yep. Give me snow at Zonhoven, please. Yep. Every fifth year, let's have some snow. I mean, the moment of the first lap, 3 leaders, one after the other, on the floor, in the women's race. And then, for me, it kind of just set it all up. It just sort of thought, this is going to be a blast. And it was. And it just, it really brought out, for me, it made the skill very visible. Much more so, maybe, than it is normally in cyclocross. It's, great athletes, great sports people doing their sport well. Looks easy. There, you could see how plumbing hard it was. You could just see how hard it was.
It's on the list actually for us. I mean, obviously, there's always one that everyone should go to. I've not been to it, and it was right. We must correct that next season. I'm going to go back to Antwerp actually, just to acknowledge one reason of why I thought it was so good. It was a race where legitimately we had 3 riders finish the elite races with their arms in the air. It wasn't Czech rider at the World Championships, which seems to be a bit of a tradition for them, where they miscount where they are in the race. But of course, we had Laurens Sveik taking the lead in the World Cup at Antwerp. That was really nice. So you get Van der Poel coming over the line with his kind of slight smirk, if you're lucky. But then getting second place, who's actually taking the World Cup lead, absolutely delighted. That was really nice. And as a Sveik fan, that's one of the things that I'm gutted about, that it wasn't able to. I don't think he'd have won the World Cup, I hasten to add, but wasn't able to carry that forward after the injury.
He worked so hard to defend it, hadn't he? And like you could see when we were going through, like Dendermonde, he was absolutely nailing it. I thought he was going to lose it straight away, and then race after race, you just, how is he holding on to this? How is it? How this is how much it means to him. And yeah, we know that you're going to love that moment, obviously, Neil, being the Uber fan that you are. But yeah, it was good to see that and to see how much it meant to him. And
yep.
When he and Wout were on the video wall at Zonhoven with the messages to the crowd was just brilliant. There's so many great moments in it, and you sort of sit here and you think about it, and then you think, oh, and that bit, and we could talk about it for a long time.
I think the season as a whole has been one of the most enjoyable seasons from start to finish. What do you think about how late it started? We had pretty much the whole season. I was looking at which race would it have been. It was one that was just after Christmas, and realising that was a month ago, and we've had half the World Cup since then.
Yeah, Dendermonde was the first one I was on the mic for, so Amber Crossan doing the first half, me doing the second half. So it's kind of been in two halves for me, but yeah.
So having it beginning 23rd of November, it was this year in Tabor. Zan, you as a rider, how do you feel? Is that too compressed? Should it be longer? Should it be even more compressed? I don't know.
Well, I'll be honest, until you said that, I didn't realise how many World Cups we've had in such a short amount of time. Like, I knew I'd done 11 this year, but I forgot just how many are kind of in that Christmas block and after. And you go, wow, okay, that's a lot of World Cups we've gone through very quickly. Now, I see it in two sides. Part of me quite likes the series starting when it does, because it gives you time to either race like in your home country, go somewhere else looking for points, race a televised racing in Belgium. You have those options without the World Cup series being affected for the start of the season. And then once you get to like end of November, you're like, right, I know what I'm going to focus on now. The World Cups and whatever I can fit in around that works. But then also since you're like, right, I've not had a week off for X number of months. And you're a bit like, okay, that's quite an intense schedule for an athlete. And especially, obviously, your top end of the field are being full-time professional riders. But it's a lot like near me, where we're not. We're working a part-time job or like doing other things. And it's like, that is a very heavy schedule to be pushing while also doing other things alongside. But there's so many ways to argue it, because I'm sure, Matt, you've got an opinion on this as well. Like, what do you think to how
me
tight
with
it
an
is?
opinion? No, I know. Well, you see, I really, I'm kind of coming at this as an Uber fan who watches every cross race at least, every televised cross race at least once, if not twice. And yet, despite having square eyes from that, I would start the World Cups early. I would have more. I would just have more. I'd have one I'd have one every weekend. One every weekend from the start. Once Three Peaks has happened in September, because we all know that's the start of the cyclocross season properly. Once that's happened in September, whatever the first weekend is after, that's the first World Cup. We have one every weekend, all the way through, some double weekends because I absolutely love them, and all the way to the end.
Okay, Matt, if you could add a few, let's say, back in that have kind of dropped off the calendar, are there any that you would have coming in? I'm thinking of perhaps the US rounds in Ireland, maybe
Dublin,
Val di Sole, Switzerland. There's a lot of potential good venues.
There's a lot of good venues. There's a lot of places it doesn't go. And I also think if you actually overload the system as much as it would be then, it would be impossible to race the whole lot. You're not going to, if you do race the whole lot, you're going to be master of none. You're going to be sort of jack of all races and master of none of the races. So you've got to it really will force people to think about where they go and where they don't go. And some will do them all. And maybe Matthew Van der Poel could win every single one of them if he ever comes back. But I just don't think, for me, I think it would just give us, I love the fact that we see people week in, week out. We see the stories evolve. We see that with Sveik. And that point you made about Sveik, you've seen how hard he worked to go in. And you identify with that rider. Then week after week, you're still seeing the same people. You're seeing the faces. You're starting to see those stories develop. So like a great book, for me, I always get to the end of a book and I start slowing down reading at the back of it if it's a really good book. So I don't want to get to the end of it. And I'm kind of like that with this season. And we're getting into the last 2 or 3. I'm like, oh, don't want it to stop now. It's brilliant. It's been great. Can we just have a few more? And whatever you say, World Cups are unique. They are really, really unique. We have great races, and there's lots of different races with great ideas and great series. But I would love to see it go for longer, start earlier with more in the season. And I know there's a lot to make that logistically possible, physically possible, mentally possible for everybody. But as somebody who loves the racing, I just think let's have it starting early, and let's keep on going all the way through, and maybe give people that little bit more thinking. Because at the moment, people miss 1 round or 2 rounds. Fayetteville and Terralba were 2 of the big misses for people, where people didn't go and they chose to put training in. And I just think actually it could, if we had more, actually one particular round wouldn't necessarily get picked. I don't know. Yeah. We will see.
And Zan, are there any venues that you've not had an opportunity to race at because they've fallen off the calendar that you would really like to race?
Oh, I'm not sure that there's any that I've not raced. Actually, saying that, I did always want to go to the US. I was one of these riders that's like, when I'm good enough, I'm going to go. And then I became good enough and they weren't on the calendar anymore. And it was about, I see why people skipped it, because it is a big commitment to travel to it. But you've seen the riders coming through from the US and how much they love cross. I think it'd be great to go back there personally, but obviously I'm one, and I'm sure there are other riders who are like, oh, I can't bother to go there. But you can tell it's a country that wants it, just like Benidorm and Spain do.
But you look at riders who go, there's many examples. Yolanda Neff was out there this year, and there's many examples of people that go out there to get their legs going. I think you should do it next year, Zan. I really do. I think it'd be brilliant to go and do that. I would like to see some of the US ones. I'd like to see Cross Vegas come back. That was brilliant. Okay, UK is a given. Okay, yep. I would like to see, I say this often whenever we talk about this stuff, actually, I think there should be something in Japan because of all the Japanese kit that people are using, all the Shimano sponsors.
And the support that the support their riders put in as well. They're coming round after round after round. They support the round. I think it's a big miss that we don't go over to the far side of the Pacific. And I think it's not just Japan as well. I think there's a whole area there. And I actually would like to see a New Zealand, Australia 2-3 weeker down there. It's happened before for BMX, where they've done Rotorua and Brisbane, double weekend on each. And it's been really worthwhile, and people have gone and made the most of it, and it's fitted in with the time that works with them as well.
Politically, this may not be very popular, but I think that the Middle East could also be really interesting as well. There's real passion for sport. There's real passion for trying to get role models in family sport there, and that's not going to happen unless you can introduce things. And if you want sand, believe me, there's plenty of sand.
But we said that, how long ago was it that we didn't see races in the African continent, and we didn't see road races, and we saw the Tour of Rwanda, then we've seen, we've got the championships, the road champs at Kigali, and I think having a global cyclocross, if it's done right, and the devil is often in the detail, if it's done right, it actually is going to really make cyclocross just even more interesting and even more fun and even more stories and even more interest for everybody. And I think that's surely what we want. Great racing, great stories, great personalities, different people can identify with and get more people. Well, ultimately, it's just about getting more people riding the bike and having fun. If you compare it to cycling esports, I've lost count of the number of times people say, well, why is X race series on at this time? It doesn't suit riders in America. And you go, well, there is like the rest of the world riding on cycling esports. So why does it have to be one time every time? Can it not just be everywhere at all times? And that's, it's about where people are at. If we want to make it global, it needs to go global.
And at that, I think it's time to take the bell and look forward to what's coming up in the last ronda. In the last round, we've got 7 races to preview. Goodness me, that's a lot, isn't it? However, they're all happening over a very short space of time, and they're all in the same place. And it is the World Championships. We're here. I can't believe it. It's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. It's in Hulst. Now, Zan, I was going to ask you before we hit record today, have you raced at Hulst?
Yes, I've done Hulst twice now. I couldn't remember if it's twice or 3 times. I think it's twice. Once the day after I broke my hand, so you can imagine how that went, and then once last year, which went fairly well.
So tell us about Hulst. From a rider's perspective, what are the key things for it, and what are the things that the spectators should be looking for?
I never want to scare people. I thought it's not the best way to coach people or help people progress. But the only way I can explain Hulst is the scariest course on the circuit. And I think that kind of sums up the sense you get there. So there are quite a few big steep descents, although I think I haven't seen a course map yet, so someone can correct me. I think the worst descent this year, they're running off, where what used to happen is you'd come down this really steep, really bumpy, really long descent, and you'd have a 90-degree corner right at the bottom, and if you missed it, you'd end up on a You've Been Framed type clip falling into the water at the bottom. I'm sure people have seen those kind of clips circulating. You have these really steep run-ups. It's a really good, very technical course, but actually with still those features to help separate it. There are some straights, there's some nasty off cambers. It's a really, really good course. As much as I said it's scary, but it is the one where I'm riding around it. It's the one where I sat there and I'm like, I'm okay, I can do this. But as you go over the edge, you're like, okay, I'm going to be okay, I'm going to be okay, I'm going to be, and you get to the bottom, okay, I'm fine, I did it. And it's the only course left where I still have those feelings.
I think for me, it's one of those courses that, because of the topography of the land, it's based around the old citadel and the moat that goes around it. So if you imagine a circular fort, and it then has what's called a bastion that sticks out, and this was a gun emplacement that basically allowed them to sort of have fields of fire that basically didn't allow anybody to come in. So each of those, they're almost like having an arrowhead sticking out into the moat. And it's utilising those and the steep ascent. So when the invaders were trying to scale the moat and go up the banks with bow, arrow, whatever, with rifle or whatever they were trying to attack it with, you're now doing it with a bike. And that, for me, or you're descending down one of those banks, and it is that very much. There's the plateau at the top, you've got the big descent, you've got the big rise. This year, I think for me, the big thing will be, however many times people have ridden at Hulst, it is different. It has changed. It's got bigger. It's got even more bridges, pontoons. The infrastructure is utterly huge. There are 7 bridges, 400 meters worth of bridges there alone. There are 5 pontoons now across the water to take the course over. 30 meters, 38 meters, 30 meters, and 23 meters and 2 5-meter ones, 5-meter ones. But when you think you're going across the water for 38 meters on a pontoon, that's just a huge structure in itself. You've got the 2 steep climbs. You've now got 2 full-on steep descents as well, and you've got your planks and the stairs, which I think are 22 steps, not 39. So I don't know if Neil knows of a book with 22 steps. I don't know of one off the top of my head.
There'll be one.
Thinking, there's got to be one. Let us know in the comments somewhere. The course is bigger. It's bolder. It's going to be scary. I think it's going to be off the scale. 50,000 people went to Hoga Hyder. That was huge. How many people are going to go to Hulst for this? I mean, it's got a big sponsor on board, with Rabobank being the main sponsor. The official title is the Rabobank UCI 2026 Cyclocross World Championships in Hulst in the Netherlands, and with the major bank on board, it really is. I mean, you can see the investment in the event in the infrastructure. I think it's going to be something that people can remember for a long, long time. I also think, because it's bigger and bolder, it should affect how people think about their predictions as well. I'm going to throw this spanner in Neil and Zan's works now, try and get my sabotage in for the win, because I don't think you can just have a standard cyclocross rider or look at any of the courses necessarily. I mean, Zan, you said this was already the scary course.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I look at Namur and think that's scary, you know. But this, if you're saying this is scarier still,
This
and
is
there
worse.
you have, and this is like the XXXL version of what it used to be. And this is going to be this needs somebody who's got that skill in there and has got the ability to be bold.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
that
I
was
think
the message I had from Finn as well. He's raced quite a lot of these races and has raced at Hulst, and that was it's proper heart in the mouth stuff. Okay, so let's move on to the team competition. Right, there are 13 teams entered this year. It's so good. There was, I think that must be a record. The defending champions are going to be there, which is Great Britain, but so are lots of others.
Let's give people an idea of the team makeup. First of all, you've got to have a women's junior, a men's junior, women's under 23, men's under 23, women's elite, men's elite. If you can't field an elite rider, you can substitute in a younger rider. But you can't put an elite into the slot of a younger rider. So an under 23, and you can't put an under 23 into a junior. So basically, you could have an entire team of juniors if you wished, but you can't have an entire team of elites. You've got to have a spread. And it does reward teams that have good riders in every slot, would be the one thing I would say. If you have a weak link in the chain, that chain generally gets dragged at the back of the race field, not at the front, and tactics play a part. I mean, 13 teams is big. Great Britain, Italy, France, United States of America, Czechia, Belgium, Canada, Spain, Japan, Netherlands, Slovakia, Luxembourg, and Denmark are your 13. I think it's I know who my prediction is in. I actually know who I think is probably going to be the top 3, but it is great to see so many riders, so many teams in there, and nations that haven't supported it in the past.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's. As Matt, you were so brave and bold on this. Before we do this, just to say good luck to the GB squad. We'll mention the GB squad for every competition. So it's Peggy Knox, Zoe Roach, and Zoe Backstead. So the two Zoes who were both defending, they were in it last year. Milo Wills, Oscar Amy, and Cam Mason, winning squad last year. Do you think they're going to double it up?
Nope.
So who is your pick? Who's your pick?
I think for me, I'm going to stick with the fact that you've got to have good riders all the way through in your team. And I was very torn by my heart and my head to this time around between some of the really big teams that are out there and some of those teams that I really want to see do well. And, we talk about like Japan and they're up there. Czechia, I think for me, another team that I really love to go well. And they've got some real stars in there. But I think this is going to be a 2-team race at the front. And it's going to come down to Italy and France at the front of the race. I'm loving the fact that Zan is going, really? I do. I think it's going to be Italy and France between the two because of the team that's in there. But I am probably, I'm going to go with France. This is not just party, Zan. There is a reason.
I was actually going to write down all your selections before today, and I'm 100%.
You're 100%. Okay. I'm torn by Italy because I actually think Italy have got. I don't see a particularly weak link in Italy.
I agree
at all. And I kind of went at it the sort of the backwards way around. I went and looked for weak links rather than necessarily who was strong. And I don't think they've actually got a very weak link at all. I think potentially France have a slightly weaker link, couple of slightly weaker links in the chain. But overall, I think they're probably just that step up, given the form over. And I changed. I'll tell you now, I changed from the start of the weekend on Friday who I was going to pick to who I'm picking now. Because I would have picked Italy before the weekend.
Zan, what about you?
See, I feel like now, especially now, I had Italy and France as potential podium spots. Yeah, I wasn't too sure on them taking the win. Like, as you say, like, it is more about you need a well-rounded, really strong team. And how about this? I can't see a weak link in the Belgian team. Like, to me, that is an incredibly strong squad they've sent.
Yeah, okay.
Your pick,
Yep.
Belgium.
Yeah, but I do think there are a lot of similar strength teams. But Belgium is the one I look at and I'm go, surely, like that is a strong lineup.
Based on previous years, Zan, your confidence or how sure you are at this point, there's no relation to what happens on the day. So
we're going to come back.
It's not true with all of us.
We're going to come back next time and be like, I don't know why I was thinking that. What was I doing?
Don't know what I was thinking. Okay, I really, really want to go Great Britain because I think that all of them, all 6 of those riders are really good at peaking. Every single one of our riders. And I think that the team, how well they will gel as a team is going to be absolutely superb. So
you're going for Great Britain?
No, I'm not. I'm going to go for Netherlands.
Come on. This
Netherlands.
Is like... hang on. Where did that come from?
I'll go for Netherlands.
I mean, it is a strong lineup.
It's a strong lineup. They're at home. And some of these...
There's a couple of riders in there that maybe... I think, not sure, but I can see where you've gone, and when you've got Thibaut de Grosso on this year, Van Aert, Leonie Benfeld, winner of the under-23 World Cup, you've got Del Grosso, second only to Van der Poel pretty much when he's on form. I can see where you're in there. I think I'm going to say this now, having seen the GB team in action at Leven and at Tabor in the team relay in person, if you could harness team spirit and togetherness, GB would win this race. Full stop. They are the most together team. They're the ones who seem to enjoy them. There's a lot of teams that have great team spirit, but they just seem to have it. They really come alive for it. So it'll be interesting to see. I actually think it's the wisest open, the closest team race we've probably seen. I think realistically, you could see 6 teams coming into the final lap together.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't think it will be over until someone sings. So we will see on that one.
Well, there's no Tabo Nace in there, so at least that's out of the way.
Yeah, I think we did that. Anyway.
Sorry,
but if you listening or watching think you can do better than this and you're shouting, why haven't you chosen X, Y, or Z? Now's your chance. Go on to the podium picker competition. Right. Junior women is the first race on Saturday. Okay, who should go first this time? It was Matt last time.
Let's give people an idea. There have been 3 winners this season in the World Cup in the women's junior racing. 7 different riders have been on the podium. 12 different riders have been in the top 5, and 21 different riders have been in the top 10. It's a big, strong race field here. You've had 3 wins for the World Cup winner, which is a big win ratio. You've had 2 wins and never outside of the top 10 for second place, and she won both the last 2 rounds.
So Matt, put names in here. This isn't the most well-known.
Lise Revolt,
yep,
who is a absolute phenomenon. Looked like she had this absolutely dialed and would have been everybody's pick. Coming in 3 wins, so she won round 2, 3, and 4. But Pelizzotti of Italy has come in and has taken the last 2 wins. But don't discount Bukowska, took the first win of the season and has come back into form at the end of the season as well. Great round, 3rd place at Maasmechelen, 2nd place at Hoge Heide. And yet all the way down through this field, I mean, you've got riders like Grahova, who took a 3rd place in round 2. And it's, again, a rider who could come and pull something special out. I mean, it really is quite a wide open race field. In terms of GB riders in the race field, Peggy Knox, along with Zoe Roach, have got to be up there. Zoe Roach, 10th in the World Cup overall, and Zoe with, I think, her best position of 4th place. Has the best chance in theory by the maths, but Peggy Knox, an 8th in the last round. at Hogerheide.
So it's going to
With
be.
that, help
yeah.
yourselves.
So I think it's fair that we move along the next person. Zan, who are you going to pick?
This is such a hard one because, again, like these are riders that are still very much developing in their cycling careers, and very much their performance and abilities are changing week to week. So it is so hard to pick one. Names, pronunciations, I always feel so guilty because I have a difficult name to pronounce, but I'm there like, oh dear. But I think the one, and maybe it's after last year, maybe it's because I've seen the way she's raced this season, and like probably the pressure she has on such young shoulders, but Barbara Bavushka, is that the correct pronunciation?
Bukowska.
There we go.
Which means it's now wrong because that's the one thing that I get bound to get picked up on, but don't worry about it.
But I saw the way, because I got to watch a bit of the race at Tabors, I was kind of like trying to assess the conditions, and the way she raced there, I was like, okay, there is something special about you, as we probably all know. And again, I think she's missed a few rounds this year. I don't know why, but that does make me think maybe she's coming into form at this back end of the season. I just, if I had to put a name, that's who I'm going for pretty much. Neil, how about you?
I said mine back in November, and I haven't changed. I promised it then, Bukowska. It's also the person that I tipped last year, and I have no regrets for that one either. So, Barbara, you've got to do it for me this time.
No pressure. 2 out of the 3 hosts of the Crosscast have just suddenly voted for you.
We really apologise if that's now cursed.
I'm torn again between Italy and France because Pellizzotti's on the roll at the end of the season. Revol second and then off the podium at Hogerheide, but she'd got the series won. I'm going to go with Revol, if only from the point of view that in theory Pellizotti is meant to be riding the team relay and Revol isn't. But I think it's a coin toss between those two, and if they look at each other, Bukowska's going to just pull something special out. But we will see. Yeah. Hopefully not from my point.
My podium picker. I'm still at 100% with you, Matt. So I'm
very good.
All right, yeah. GB contingent. We have Oscar Amy, Ben Askey, and Dec Oldham. 3 cracking riders, all of whom have had great careers already, but they're all young. Ben Askey's the oldest of those, but I think all 3 of them have got great futures as well. So those are the 3 British riders. I'm not going to pick any of those. I am going to go Sparfell.
One of the 2 winners so far this season. There's only been 2 winners in the under-23 men's. Only 7 riders on the podium. And 22 top 10 riders. Again, it's a very similar spread actually to the junior women when you look at it, but only 2 winners, Aubin Sparfell and David Haverdings.
So, yeah,
Haverdings, though.
France, yeah.
Yeah. Sparfell from France, who won round 2 and the final round, but David Haverdings has won round 1, 3, 4, and round 5. He's had a second place in the last round. That's a brave picnic in some ways there, Neil.
I'm a brave chap.
No, okay, you're
Matt,
not.
Where's yours?
Picking...
What's yours?
Well, this is where I'm fighting a little bit here because I kind of want Stefano Vietti to be up there because he's been one of the riders I've watched progress through from the junior racing into the under-23s, and I just kind of really want him to go and take it. I'd love to see Bissio do the same. Again, another rider who's come up from the juniors we've seen really progress. I just don't think they've got the firepower yet. I'm going to go with David Haverdings.
Okay,
because, I've now totally mucked up. In theory, I've now messed up your predictions for what I was going for.
So, Floris Haverdings?
No, David Haverdings, you... No sabotaging.
That's David Haverdings. There are 2 Haverdings.
There is indeed.
Floris Haverdings as well, who is also a Dutch rider. So if you're there and you see Dutch squad and you're not sure, just shout Haverdings.
Floris Haverdings' best is an 8th position in the World Cup so far versus 4 wins, 1 second and a 9th place for David. I think, I'll go for David. Thanks.
Zan, what's your pick?
Zan.
So this feels like the battle of the Crosscast hosts because you 2 have said my 2 options going into it's going to be one of those 2. see, this is like this is where I go with my heart, because I'm like, this is like a Dutch World Championships, and I want to lean to the Dutch rider getting the medal in his home country. So I do kind of lead to David Haverdings in this, and I think he's just shown a little more consistency, but we all know what could that mean. Anyone could win this race. There are quite a few there that probably could pull it out the bag.
Yep.
100%.
Courses.
100% when you look at it.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've not mentioned
Courses could do
Courses,
it.
was another one on my long list.
Two second places, third places, podium rider. Vietsi's hit podiums. Van den Eyden, he's hit the podium. You just keep on going. De Bruyker.
Yeah, a very strong rider.
Not that long ago we were talking about De Bruyker being a potential future world champion.
What about the elite women? This was easy a week ago, wasn't it? And now it's nowhere near as easy.
What?
So Matt, I think it's your turn to go first. Actually,
it is. It is.
I don't know how fair this is. Are you going to? Yeah. That means you'll be go first with the elite men as well. Okay, fair enough. So,
well, you can change it if you want, because I'm not going to change this year. I'm not changing my predictions from what I've put down. Yeah. I have in previous years. I have wavered before.
So, who is your pick? Actually, to be honest, before we go into that, we've got to note that the reigning champion, person who's won the last 3 years, will not be there.
Yes.
So, Fem Van Empel is not there. So, someone will need to get a new jersey.
We've got riders who've won before though, in Brand, in Alvarado, and showing Lucinda Brand. How many wins this season?
None. And the current streak is 0.
A current streak is 0. That's not often. That's the first time it's been said pretty much this season, isn't it? It's, it's got a second time. It's like Lucinda Brand, 8 wins, a second place, and that 10th place at Maasmechelen, and then the calf injury, a stroke, not feeling on form. Depending on which bit, when you took the stories and when you heard about the news coming out, it depends on which bit you were told on that, because there's been different stories floating around in the press about why, but calf injury. So who knows? Is it just a bit of mind games going on? Don't know. I would love it to be Sailing Alvarado, because I absolutely love the fact she loves winning. And because she's coming into form at the right time, and also because of that win in Zonhoven, which is my favourite race. So I kind of like, do you know what? It'd be brilliant. But I don't think so, because I'm going to go with the person that I sat down and had breakfast opposite on a number of occasions at the Mountain Bike World Championships before now, and that's Puck Pedersen, who I think is going to be the winner of the World Championships. That's my pick, Puck Pedersen. Okay.
Second, but this one is the whole podium, so first, second.
I know, which means I'm going to go with Alvarado in second, and I'm going to go with Brand. No, not. I'm not going to go with Brand at all. I'm going to go with Fokine. Yes. I know, and it's risky because I almost have gone for Zemanova, and it's between the two riders because Zemanova's back on form as well. But I'm just we had a tired Fokine at the end of the World Cup. She's been working hard. She's had a great season. Will she be able to pull it out? We'll see. I'm confident in 1 and 2. I'm not so confident in 3. I think 3 could be one of 15, 20 riders.
At least.
Maybe more. Yeah, I'd agree.
What about you?
So there was me thinking me and Matt were going to have the same riders in a different order, but no, you've changed that on us. So I do think we're going to have a Dutch rounded out podium. And I think, as we said, like it could have gone a lot of different ways, and I'm ready to be so completely wrong. But I think this might be little tiny fangirls and talking, but I think Alvarado is going to put that back. I think there's a reason she skipped Hoogerheider, and it's not just, I needed a rest. I think she has been working to this a long way through this season, and we saw her form was good on Saturday, and I'm just hoping that she can pull it out the bag Sunday because, as you say, she's the rider that loves winning, but she does it in style, and she's going to wear those stripes all year with so much heart that I just want her to do it. Not that the other girls don't deserve it. Again, as I said, I think this is just
always the way.
That fangirl in me. She's one of the girls that inspired me to take cross as far as I have, and it'd be just nice to see her back in stripes. I think Puck is going to finish second. Again, she seems to be on really good form, especially after earlier in the year. And I think we're going to have Brand in third. But I'm less confident on the final place on that podium.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
What about you, Neil? Because I think for me, in some ways, this was the easiest. Because mine would have been Brand, Pedersen, Alvarado. But suddenly, this whole issue for Brad, either that or Lucinda Brad's going to just come out and absolutely wipe the floor with everybody again.
I think that's quite.
No idea.
I think it's quite possible.
It might be quite probable.
This year, I mean, we said about Van Ampel not there this year. Of course, Kant's not there this year. Voss isn't there this year. So we've got a lot of multiple previous champs who aren't there. I'm going for a different rider in third, but their first two will match. I'm going Alvarado for the win, and that's a kind of a heart and head together. I'd love her to win. I think technically she is pretty much the best rider there. I think she keeps her head technically when she's under pressure much more than other riders. So I think that will be good for her. I think Pedersen, I'd love to say Pedersen. I really want to, but I think she'll be second. Third is a wild card for me. Backstead.
I'm not sure that's a wild card at all. I actually think I would agree that I think that Backstead could win it. I actually think she could win it. She's a championship rider, and one of the reasons I haven't got Zoe in there is every time I don't put Zoe in, she really does well. She's guaranteed to go well. I had to look back at this, and every time I don't put her in, she goes really well. So I've not deliberately not put her in, because I would actually go with Backstead as my third choice, I have to say.
Yeah. I think
I'm not going to do it, because I'm going to put my hand up now. I want Zoe to go and win it. So if I put her in, it's not going to happen. So I'm going to leave her out.
I think that if Brand is in third and there's a group, I think she will be annoyed with herself enough to just not send it as much as she's going to need to. And I think others would race more for places. So that's why I didn't put Brand in third. And I do feel that the fact that Zoe's riding up, I mean, we know I just don't think she would have done it if she wasn't capable of winning it. And after seeing how strong she was last week, my slight hesitation is the technicality, but I think she's also quite a machine.
She's great. She's great on a bike, though. It's that hand, isn't it? It's the hand wrist, the crash, the throwing it down. It's in that. It could be a real mix, couldn't it?
Yeah, but she's also capable of putting out power for a long period of time, and I think they're going to need that. I think people will be puffed out at the end of this race. Okay, the other category we've put in for this year, which is a new one, is how many different nationalities are going to finish in the top 10. So whose turn is it to go first? Zan's turn it to go first this time. Have you given this much thought? I suggest. Oh no, you've gone for all Dutch. So yeah. You say one.
I misunderstood the rule. I thought in the top 10 across all the races, not the single race. If I gave you my number that I had for all the races, it's going to not look very good right now. I'm going to go 5, I reckon, for the elite women, different nationalities.
Okay. So you're going to reckon the Netherlands?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll go 5. I should be next. I'm going to go 4 because I think we'll have a couple of French riders in there. We'll have a lot of Netherlands riders, a British rider in third, and then some others. That's going to be more than 4, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to stick with 4.
You see, I'm being an optimist here. I'm going for at least 7
in the elite women's field.
So okay. I'm just going to tell you a few names: Vass, Hungary; Schreiber, Luxembourg; Neff, talking about sending it on descents; Yolanda Neff, Switzerland; Casasola, back on form; Italy; Zemanova, absolutely flying at the moment, riding really well; Czechia. Now, when you start throwing those 4 in towards the top 10, and then you add in the Netherlands, you add in Marinoba Ribeiro, who's strong on really muddy courses, and it's been belting it down like an absolute loon for the last couple of days up there. I'm just thinking we are going to get in. Then you've got the Netherlands, of course, and you've got potentially Fauconnet in the top 10, potentially the possibility of Clazel, who's riding strong. I actually think it could be more of a mix. We may be not going to see as much of a domination as we have previously.
I
I actually think there's a lot of riders out there that could be in there.
I agree. I think there won't be. Yeah, I now when we have two regrets. One of them is putting this question in at all, and the second one is the number I put in. But
it could equally be. It could be 4 because the Netherlands round out 6 places, and then you've only got 4 more spaces.
I've already written the scoring on the guidance notes on here. If you get it right, you get 3. 1 off, you get 2. 2 off, you get 1 point. Further than that, you don't get any. We'll find out next week. This could kill me on this one. Right then, let's go to Sunday. Junior men. I think it's my turn to go first. I can't remember who I put in.
Junior men, 4 different winners.
Yep.
Through the season, and a lot less riders in the top 10. So only 7 podium riders, 9 top 5 riders, and only 20 top 10 riders. It's actually a little bit more of a select field in the men's juniors, I think. It's just a little bit closer.
Yep. The British riders, we have Luke Trafford and Jacob Steed. As much as I'd love both of those to podium, I think that's a bit optimistic. It's my turn to go first. I am going to go with... I have 2. I've got 2 on my list. I've just realised, and I didn't ever take the choice. I'm going to go...
You're going to have to take it now.
Grigolini. It's Italy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 around, the 2nd place, 2 third places, 5th and the 9th.
But hasn't he gone really well on the more technical courses?
Yeah, but he's also riding the team relay.
Yeah, be a nice
he's
little
got a day off in the
opener
middle
for him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm not saying it's a bad choice at all.
Crosscast Neil has spoken. Matt.
Well, I'm continuing my do I go Italian or French trend here, I have to say, because up until Sunday, for me, this was nailed on. This was Patrick Pezzo-Rasola. This was dialed. It was like, yeah, that's an obvious pick. I'm going with him. He's just been brilliant. You know, he's not been outside the top 10. His worst position, 6th. He's been right up there. He's taken 2 wins running in, and then the last round he goes and gets 2nd place. And Brea Juma has taken the win. It's like, what do I do? But I am going to go Italian. So really? Patrick Pezzo-Rasola. Yep, I am.
I'm out now. I was sure that you were going to go Brea Juma.
I think he's just not as consistent though. And so it's do you go for consistency in podium positions? And you know, rounds 4 and 5 are not that long ago. You know, I think it's a real tricky one, and I think you could be anywhere with this. Zan, come on.
See, I find your reaction to Neil's pick interesting because I was also going to go for Grigolini, and I don't want to be swayed. I'm going to stick to my guns. And I think, yes, he's had really good results. He's had lower positionings, but I don't know, like anything can happen on the day, and my heart just says him, so I'm going to stick with it.
It would be a heck of a turnaround after 9th at Hoogerheide.
But maybe he's just peaking for Worlds. This is the thing you don't know about everyone, what they're doing, what they're training, what's their plan.
Yep. It could have been putting in the biggest training block known to wherever, knowing that he's pretty secure in that 3rd place. Although he only took it by 4 places from Lejeune. So, Lars Courses, we haven't even mentioned. He's another podium rider in the juniors. You know, it's. I think it's a very, very difficult one to call. But I do think of the 3 that we've mentioned, and I think interesting. None of us have actually gone for the winner of the last round of the World Cup. Somebody will.
Right, under 23 women. So
under 23 women.
Okay, Matt, you're going first this time. Shall I write her in already?
Yeah, you might as well. Yeah. 3 winners, 9 podium riders, 18 top 5 riders, 25 top 10 riders in the under 23 when you take them out of the elite competition. But for me, once you take Zoe Baxter out of this, who would be, for me, the winner if she was racing, I think you have to look at this with the lens of they're not trying to follow the elite riders. They're racing amongst themselves, and I think that really affects it. So, for example, we've seen Leonie Benfeld take away the most wins by a country mile, and head to head, she's beaten my pick all but once. But when you put these riders racing together off the, basically going to come off the front row of the grid, I'd love to say Neil's pick, who I'm almost certain he's going to go for. I'd love to say Leonie Benfeld, because she's the rider who's won, but I'm not, because I think it's going to go down to a rider who I think has got the taste of world championship victories before and wants to keep on going. That's going to be Celia Jury. Absolute machine. And I think she had a bad last round, but every time she goes out and nails it, and then gets an absolute hammering because she's trying to go with the elites.
Yeah.
That's my reasoning behind it anyway. We will see if it's totally wrong.
Okay, Zan.
Like, you are right. There's a lot to say about the fact that these under-23s are now going to be racing the under-23s and not racing the elite race. Like, I had a thought, and I was thinking about some riders, ones that you might not expect. So Vida Lopez is a rider who normally starts probably on the 6th, maybe on the 7th row, but actually cuts right through the field. And I think she's one that will be up there and will surprise people, but only because she's not had the chance to race from the front, from the gun.
She rode well at Tabor, and I think you're absolutely on the button there. Her in Tabor, she was something else again. She brilliant ride by her there. Real breakthrough ride. I wouldn't disagree. If you go with her, I wouldn't disagree with you, to be honest, because I think it is everybody's together, and that point about not coming off row 5 is critical.
Yeah, but I think she'll do very well. But my thing I reckon is going to actually win is Fleur Moors, and that is based slightly off Belgian champs with a similar course with the level of descending and the technical ability. She's a rider with a lot of skill, and when she had that chance to ride from the front, she did incredibly well.
Yep, 4 second places in terms of under 23s, 3 third places. It's not out of the way, at all. Raphael Carrier, has had a podium. She's had a 3rd place for Canada. Another rider who you could put in there, and Lydia Cusac's skill.
Yes.
She showed that at the weekend at Hoogerheide, bunny hopping the barriers time and time again. She's one of the very few that could do that time and time again, all the way through that race. Absolutely brilliant rider. Benfeld's been the first under 23 8 times, but I will put you a very big ice cream that Neil is not going to pick her at all. And he's going to pick Victoria Schladenova instead.
Now, you know what? I've changed my pick.
Oh, here we go.
I thought that Schladenova was riding in elites. So thanks for noting that. That makes it easy for me, because I was really torn. I would have gone Fleur Moors or Géry, but now Schladenova's there. I always pick Schladenova, so that makes it easy for me.
Well, if she wins, I'm going to be kicking myself, aren't I? I'm going to be absolutely, literally and metaphorically kicking myself if she wins.
I think
2 second place in the 3rd place.
Yeah, I thought that she was going to be riding up, so I'd actually not even looked for her. So
she was in that leading chase group, Neil, in Hoogerheide. She was on that chase group in Hoogerheide. I don't think she's a bad pick at all.
Let's think about the elite men. It's my turn, I believe, to go first this time, and the British contingent is one rider this time, Cam Mason. Now, Cam goes well in when he's racing for jerseys. Obviously, you see how well he went at national champs several times, see how well he went at European champs. He had an absolute flyer last weekend, so he's got that start on him. And unlike, he hasn't got that weakness that people used to say with him, and he can start now, and he's proven it. So Mason is a possibility. I'm going, and I have bought some false moustaches. And I've got 6 false moustaches. So if anyone else wants one, come and find me. And we'll be there in our false moustaches, shouting for Mason. So Mason is clearly someone we'll be shouting for, but as much as I'd love to say I think he's going to win it, I don't think that's the case. I think it's going to be someone with Van in their name. It would be poetry if Lars van der Haar won it. I would absolutely, wouldn't the world just take a deep breath and think, oh, at last, the world is in a better place than it was if Lars van der Haar could win it. I think that's only going to happen if bad things happen to Mathieu van der Poel, who is, of course, my number one pick. Second place is Tibor Del Grosso, just because he's great and he's clearly enjoying himself. I've looked at the course and I don't think there's any flyovers which are going to make him be enticed into doing whips and casing his tyres, which I was worried about at the weekend. So my first two, Van der Poel and Tibor Del Grosso. But third place, there's a large number of riders that could be. So my list includes Orts. He's clearly going good and he's had good results there before. Neuenhaus, again, he's just ready to bring out another big ride. Thibaut Nice, I think he could win it. He could be peaking for it, but I just don't think he's got the head for it. I don't think that if he's in a position to fight for it, he'll be able to take it. Van Turenhout had such an awful race there last year. He couldn't keep his bike upright, and I don't think that it's going to be his ride, but I'm going to go Van der Putte. So Van der Poel, Del Grosso, Van der Putte.
Oh, two World Cups and a World Championship podium.
Yeah.
Duplication, as it were.
Yeah, exactly.
Triplication.
Yeah, triplication.
Wow. Okay. Ooh. I can go for the obvious first, Mathieu van der Poel, and much as I would like to see Lars win, I agree. But then again, Mathieu van der Poel, he's just looks so good. He's got so much extra over everybody else. When you talk about something happening to him, you're talking about Martian abduction kind of levels for him not to take away the win. It's just, he'd really have to stuff it up, and that almost to the point of sort of the sort of crash that you don't want anybody to suffer. That's the kind of level of he gets punctures just passing the pit and still gets back to the front of the race. I can't see past that. I just can't see past him there.
What happened to Pidcock at Hulst? Was that 4 years ago, when his wheel collapsed on him? And these things can happen to the very best riders.
They can,
and of it at Hulst.
And it might be that because Mathieu van der Poel doesn't have that great day at the office, we then see him riding next year because he's looking to take away the overall number of wins and the record of world championships, etc., etc. And put himself totally out reach of everybody in the record books and everything. But I don't think so. It's going to be Van der Poel. But then it's behind. I equally struggling to see past Tibor Del Grosso being in second place because one, he's got the form. Two, he's a rider who pulls it out at championships. We've seen him do that before, time and time again. He's just a champion. So I'm afraid I'm going to replicate your second place as well, Neil, because I think it is going to be Tibor Del Grosso. And I would love to see Niels van der Putte take that. I kind of think he's been the overlooked rider for a lot of years, and the fact that he can ride around with, foul treads in the mud and still seem to stay upright is brilliant. I'm going with Thibaut Nice, though, because I think Nice will be there or thereabouts, and I think we're going to be treated to a Nice Del Grosso battle, and I think it'll be between the two.
Yeah.
So that's I wouldn't be surprised to see. I agree with you. Orts up there on a good day, he could be there. I think I agree 100%. Neuenhaus may pull out that kind of ride. Van Torenhout's too much of a guess, and Tournettes for me not on the form. He's not had a podium at a World Cup this year. He's been right thereabouts. Never a podium. When did we last say that about Tournettes? When he was, when he's on good form, he gets podiums, and he's clearly just not at that level at the moment.
Apart from one race at Europeans,
not the World. Yeah, the Europeans, he had a great race, a championship race, but not a World Cup level, and I just doesn't seem to be quite where he needs to be. I just don't think it's going to be the case. So, no, that's might be a predictable 3, but yeah, that's where I'm going.
Zan.
Oh, okay. You guys have had a lot of interesting thoughts, and Matt, you've thrown out a lot of different names there that, as you say, all could be up there on the day. As you both said, I I would be very surprised if number one isn't Matthew van der Poel. He's been so dominant, as you said, like Mass Mechelen, with 2 punctures and still being able to pull it out. Yes, there's been races where other riders have gotten close, but he's just been so dominant this year. Although there is part of me that doesn't want him to do it purely for the sake of we get to keep Matthew van der Poel doing cross for a little bit longer. But I think that's a bit too much of a dream. And then for me, whether I'm going off last year, his thoughts on the course, like I feel like second place will be Niels van der Put. I just think this is a course that really suits him and his skill set. I think he's probably coming into it with a lot of confidence, both from this weekend and his result there last year. And he seems genuinely lovely. So I think, I kind of hope he does well. I think he deserves. Larry's like, yes, he's had the 2 podiums this weekend. But I don't know. He's just one of those riders that feels like he's always almost there, but never the one on the top step. And like, I just want him to do well. And then for me, I think third place will be Thibaut Nice. I think, yes, okay, he's not hit the podium this weekend, but he's still been there or thereabouts. He has those races that don't quite go his way, but all season he's been almost there. And as long as he can keep his head together and keep it controlled and dialed, I think he'll do really well. But as you said, there's going to be lots of different riders challenging. I just can't wait to sit down and watch loads of really good cross races. I think we're going to be in for a treat this weekend, to be honest.
Totally agree. But before we switch off our minds, we've got a number each. How many different nationalities do you think we'll get in that top 10? I can go first this time. I'm going to go 5 because I felt my number was too low last time. And I think we're going to get Belgium, Spain, Netherlands, and 2 others. France.
GB?
Yeah.
See, I'm going to swap with Neil. I was going to go 4 for the men's race. I do think we'll see the Netherlands, we'll see Belgium in there. And then I think like we have a few options. We might see GB, we might see France, we might see Swiss, we might see Spain. And I think it'll be 2 of those other ones. Matt, how about you? How many do you reckon we're going to have?
Well, we could have Spain, because we talked about Orts. We could have Kevin Kuhn in the top 10. That's Switzerland again. Michael Porras has been running well. It's Czechia. You add in, I wouldn't discount a top 5 for Cam Mason on this course. So that's GB plus Van der Poel plus. So I'm going with 3.
3.
All those countries, and you said 3.
Great.
Yep.
I'm afraid so, because I do think it's going to be a Netherlands, Belgium plus 1 other in the top 10.
So
after all that, sorry.
If you think that we are completely missed some riders, your chance will be you can have your go. So please do have a go. Do share it around your teams, your clubs. If you want us to work it out for your club, well, put your club name in, but do try to get as many as possible in here. Here at Gritty Mission Control, we've been working on a few other things at the moment, so we haven't worked out what the prize will be, but we will make sure there's a prize from Gritty Mission Control, Gritty HQ. There'll probably be a voucher or something like that, so you can make sure that you get a decent prize for either the first or the top 3 or something. We'll work it out, but we'll get a prize from Mission Control just here. If you think that we've completely missed it because Zan was the only person that picked a Belgian rider, in fact she picked them twice, once for the team and once for the under 23s, then you can have a go. If you think that it's not going to be a French...
Whoa. I picked a Belgian rider in Thibaut Nice.
No, but in terms of the wins, yeah, I did in terms of the podium. But in terms of wins, we've got a mighty lot of Italians. We've all got a lot of Italians. Matt's got a lot of French. I've got some Czechia and a lot of Dutch riders. Really interesting how times change on this. So we're going to miss not having Elie Iserbyt this time. Really sad that he's had to finish his career early. So that's disappointing. It will be Lars van der Haar's last World Championships. Although if he wins it, I hope he comes back again. Come on, Lars. I haven't even... No. So we'll see where we go. If you want to support the show, this is a really good chance to do it. buymeacoffee.com/crosscast. You know the form. If you've got here, you've probably got here before. We pay for fees all 12 months of the year. And effectively your generosity means that we can have a decent Crosscast, and it makes our lives livable in terms of using the right software to do the edits and everything like that. So thanks for that. Go along to buymeacoffee.com/crosscast. The next show is going to be after World Champs, obviously, but you'll be able to catch up with us in between times. So you can find me at Crosscast Neil. And of course, you can find us on the Instagrams and things as well.
I will be watching from the comfort of my own home, most likely. I'm going to say most likely for now. Part of me's like, oh, I need a rest. I need to stay home. And I'm like, I want to go away again and have some fun time in my off season. So I might be at home. I might be somewhere a little bit nicer. But no, hopefully relaxing, resting, chilling. I'm going to watch it on the sofa and enjoy it. And I'll be screaming everyone on from the comfort of home. Matt, I mean, I'd ask you where you are, but I think we all know we're going to find you on the commentary booth.
Yeah, going in person to the event, which I'm really looking forward to, and looking forward to putting words to the action to 3 days of action, one way or another. Now, at the commentary box, and it's going to be a really busy 3 days. If you do come, if you're there, do give us a wave, say hi, wave at the commentary box. If I don't answer or don't wave or don't say or I'm rushing about, don't take it personally. It's one of the craziest weekends because of the daylight hours, because of the volumes of races, because of the timescales of rider confirmations as well. It does mean that it is. It's one of those that I think has probably sent me grey over the years, one way or another. So yeah, don't take it personally. If at some point I'm going, I'd love to stop, but whatever, or I don't wave out the box, but please do keep waving because I do look up and it is really appreciated. When you're in the middle of something and you actually see a friendly face on the other side of the track, waving like a nutter, but some random person in the commentary box. So thank you very much, everyone who's said hi before. And yeah, don't hesitate to say hi again. And don't forget, of course, remember, it's about the riders and it's about the racing. So give them a follow. Give Hulst a follow, the organisers, because I think if you want the full feel for how it is and you're not able to get there, their social media feeds are fantastic. It's looking immense. I've just had a message through, a work message, and I'm not going to say where it's come from or who it is, but basically it says, prepare to be blown away by Hulst. I think that says everything. It should be an absolute blast.
Okay, and at that then, we'll see you on the other side of the tape. Bye.